You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 47. I'm Nicholas Prom.
And I'm Spencer Valadez.
All right, it's another Wednesday Warrior edition. New comics.
New comic day.
Yes, so we got another wonderful submission from indie publisher Matt Acoyne. We got issue 13 of Doublethink.
Heart Healthy Comics.
Yes.
Yeah. Love these.
Yeah, they're fun.
They're funny throughout. I love the mini story of the.
Hang on. Let's talk about the beginning of this book.
Okay.
The Matt stuff that's in this book.
Okay.
I love it. It's totally slice of life kind of things, and it's very relatable.
Oh yeah.
In this issue, Matt is, it's pretty much himself. Is talking about changing diet, to be healthier, and I totally relate to this. Skinny guys like Spencer can't really relate to like what it is like to be a big fatso like me.
Right.
A lot of people think that I'm big because I'm just a lazy slob, but it's really has a lot to do with a lot of like gay emotions that I feel and stuff that make it so I can't stop eating.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, I really really thought this was funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other thing, the backup feature in this book is Matt's friend. I forget his name. We'll get it. We'll remember it. But
we will.
Muji Guy,
Muji
which is this cool thing about like a submarine crew, and they're like exploring, and they're like there's a monster, maybe the Muji Guy, and there's a giant squid, and it's kind of fun. Kevin Kilgore, that's his name.
Yes.
Kilgore. Yeah. But anyway, Doublethink is a really cool comic, and you can get it for only $2 an issue from Matt's website, which is if you visit mischiefcomics.com, you can totally check his stuff out there, and also Kevin Kilgore's stuff at chickenfriedcomics.blogspot.com. Yeah. Very cool stuff. Support indie comics; they're neato, and we just love this book.
Yeah. I love it because it's silly.
Yeah.
And I think as we get older, we lose some silly in our lives, and we can always use some. There's no reason not to be silly once in a while, and this is a great excuse. If you need something like that in your life, grab these comics.
Yeah. It's nice to read a comic book that's fun.
Yeah.
Comic strips and newspapers, they're lame. I'm done with them.
Yeah.
They're just dumb. And 3 panels isn't enough for me. I need more.
Yeah.
And a comic book gives me that. Yeah. I can any kind of comic, humor, whatever, but I need it in a comic book form. A comic strip it's too little.
Uh-huh.
It's not enough. So
yeah. So let's jump on over to Dark Horse real quick. The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys.
Number 2.
Gerard Way, Becky Cloonan.
Yeah, Gerard Way and Sean Simon writing. Yeah. But yeah, beautiful art by Becky Cloonan. Gerard Way, of course, of was he from My Chemical Romance?
Uh-huh.
And he wrote the Umbrella Academy, which is I think we won an Eisner for that. I think.
Oh wow, cool.
Either that or it's just highly acclaimed, like that kind of thing. Uh-huh. I've read a little bit of it. I don't know enough, but. Killjoys. This is just a Mondo Bizarro series. I'm so fascinated by this, even though I have no idea what's going on.
Would you like some brutal honesty from me?
Yes, always.
The only reason I'm reading this book, okay.
Other than the fact that I'm getting it?
Other than the fact that you're getting it, is the art.
I love Becky Cloonan.
Beautiful, great. It seems fresh to me.
Yeah.
It's awesome. The book, the story, I don't understand.
No, I'm lost, but I'm intrigued. There's really weird things going on. It's this weird post-apocalyptic totalitarian state, and there's like rock and roll rebels, and there's like people crushing the masses with their oppression, and also Draculoids and scarecrows and weirdness and robot hookers.
What was it?
And
Robotushin. No, Robo. We'll get it.
Man, see, a joke that I had pre-show, then you were going to try and repeat, no dice, and I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Robostitute.
That's it.
Was that it?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, it's really cool, and there's like pirate radio, rock and roll guys living out in the desert, So, there's weirdness going on with this. I don't understand it, but I'm I want to read this series. I want to know what's up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still in.
I'm in as long as you are.
Yeah, I mean, my rule is 2 issues or like but I'm good. I'm good to write it out. I mean, it's only going to be a 6-issue limited series, so.
I just give me a story I can follow. Is what there's 3 or 4 stories going on in this book.
There's a lot of subplots,
and
it seems convoluted.
Yeah, it's very convoluted, and it feels like I'm kind of wasting my time when I could read full stories. And
I like subplots, but I have from our starting point with the book, I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
And then this issue 2 didn't really clear up anything. Mm-hmm. But it's the weird, confusing stuff is so interesting, at least to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still sticking with it.
Right. You mentioned that you picked up the Free Comic Book Day
issue that Dark Horse put out, and there was a sampler from this. Now, those pages haven't been in either of these issues.
Uh-huh.
That little sample, I don't know if that was supposed to be a 0 issue, that takes place before this, or if it's something that's going to be a part of this series as it progresses.
Uh-huh.
But I was hooked on that. It was so weird. I felt like I understood it better from that, and now I'm like, huh?
Do you think that's something that readers who might want to get into this book should read first? Or
I mean, you could find that Free Comic Book Day sampler of 2013, Dark Horse, whatever. Yeah, you can find it on eBay or something, or your back issue bins or something.
Okay. So I think...
But to answer your question, yes. I mean, it was the hook that made me I want to read this. Because I wouldn't have picked it up.
Right.
But I read that and I'm like, in.
Awesome. So, there's that.
There's that. So, I got Superman Unchained, number 2. Now, I wasn't sure if I wanted to even get the number 2. Because I think when we talked about issue number 1, I kind of read it. I'm like, okay, I like Scott Snyder as a writer.
Mm-hmm.
I really respect what he does. I like him a lot. I'm not crazy about Jim Lee's art. He's not a selling point for me. But so I was getting it despite the fact that Jim Lee was on it.
Okay.
My non-craziness for Jim Lee, was outweighed by my appreciation for Scott Snyder's writing. But you and I both kind of thought the number 1 was a bit boring.
Yeah.
Now, when I went and reread it, less so.
Okay.
I liked it better. But then this issue, I feel like not much advancement has taken place. It feels like what could have happened in a few pages took the whole book.
Yeah.
And
it felt throughout the whole thing as a long read.
It was a long read.
Even when it got to the more exciting portions of the book, it was just tedious almost.
Yeah, and I like a comic that's ready. I like a comic that takes me a little bit to read. I feel like, comics that reads too quick, I feel like I've been cheated.
Uh-huh.
So, no worries on that end.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like, all right, can we get to it a little bit?
Right.
And there's some action and there's things going on here. I feel like I'm at a crossroads. Do I want to continue with the series? I mean, Lex Luthor's coming out. The other Superman has kind of been revealed, who may be called the Wraith. I'm not sure.
Okay.
He's
strong.
He seems like he's more powerful than Superman. We don't know where he comes from. We don't know what this is. Lex Luthor looks like he's breaking out of prison. Boy, that's a cliche and a half.
Right.
But
my thought is it's the second issue.
Mm-hmm.
And that how often do we see smack in your face from the get-go? I mean, it happens.
Some number 1s are really awesome, and some of them are like, oh, man, I need to read the next one.
And so 5 issues from now, my question for you is, if it gets good, would you start picking it up again?
Yeah, and I kind of want to know where this is going.
Right. If you don't pick it up from this point on.
Right. I would be mad if it got awesome in a few issues.
Right.
And then be great having to go and try and get the back issues.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm not hit with awesomeness. I'm feeling there's potential for coolness. I feel like it's weird to read a superhero comic that operates on a slow burn kind of thing. You would see that more on something more offbeat, like maybe the Killjoys.
Okay.
Or, something that Brian K. Vaughan would be writing. But I can dig slow burn.
Okay.
But the character development and the interplay has to be there to make me really into that. I'm go ahead.
I might get a little crap from some people for saying this. I felt that Watchmen was a bit slow burn, but we were getting that character development and
the original Watchmen.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got the character development. We got the reason why we should care about these characters.
Yeah.
And then that was reinforced with the before Watchmen stuff, which was again a little bit of slow burn, but they got there, and I just don't feel like this Superman book is getting anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I think because those books, they're not really about action. I mean, they're about action characters,
right.
But it's about their lives falling apart.
And so when when you get to Superman, you expect action and heroics.
I mean, the guy who's Action Comics. So hello.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, this isn't action. This is Superman Unchained, but
of course.
And it's like he's doing stuff. He's doing super heroic stuff. I don't think there's hardly a moment of Clark being boring, whatever. But
fighting a big construction monster, like really, I don't want to read about you fighting a big construction.
Yeah, I mean, like,
monster.
can we have Brainiac, please?
Yes.
Or Luthor in the power suit?
Yeah.
Or a monster that's not a robot.
Right.
I feel like this other super character who has aided Superman somewhat.
A little bit.
I feel like he's still going to be a nemesis for Superman. I don't think that character will outlive the series, I have a feeling.
Okay.
But I feel like maybe there's going to be like some incredible grudge match where it's going to be like... But I don't know, is it just that they reinvented Doomsday, only made him a smart character?
Maybe, yeah.
I hate that because that would just be so retreading. What Scott Snyder has said in interviews, like, this is like, if I was going to tell one Superman story, would be it. And I would be so disappointed if it just felt like a retread of like the Death of Superman type of thing, like definitely. A guy who's just going to punch Superman to death.
Yeah.
Or like just beat up Superman.
Or a punch for punch match, like a boring punch for punch match.
Well,
where it goes on for 10 bouts and you just get nowhere with it.
Well, and here's the thing. You would think that that's exciting comic, and for a while that can be, but there's got to be reasons I have to care about, whatever. I have to have some feeling about the villain, good or for ill. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of Superman Unchained.
Okay.
That's my honest thing. I'm like...
Okay, so here's my question.
Yeah.
Are you going to pick up the third one?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to decide in about 3 weeks.
Okay.
3-4 weeks when it comes out. So, yeah. So, one book that I don't have to, wonder whether I'm going to pick it up again is Astro City. Astro City number 2 came out today, and boy, I loved this issue. Kurt Busiek, I thought this was so brilliant. Do you remember the name of the artist who's working on this book?
I
mean, covers by Alex Ross, and I meant to...
Is it Sinclair? Is that who...
Yeah. No, hang on. No. I think it's Brent Anderson. But anyway...
Yeah. Awesome. I got excited when you brought over the first one, and I got to read through. And that story in itself was just great. Mm-hmm. And this story, what's great about it is that both of them, you can read them separately. It's the same universe. You know that the characters are crossover, but you don't have to wait till the second one to come out.
I read a bunch of the old Astro City stuff, and a lot of it is like 1-2 issue arcs, and it's really just the universe building that Busiek has done, and it's brilliant. It's this perfect. I mean, people have done pastiches of Marvel and DC universe, okay,
right?
And superhero deconstruction, but this is unique. I mean, this is even better than Alan Moore's like top 10 stuff.
Oh wow!
And that's a book that was kind of like, let's create our own superhero universe, But I just love this. This just feels. There's so much fun, and there's new dimensions to the superhero kind of world that the way you would think it would be. The interactions between regular people and super folks are like, okay, this is about the Honor Guard, this basically Justice League Avengers type of group, okay? But this issue centers around, like, yeah, the Honor Guard are in it, but this issue centers around people who work in the call center to direct them to, like, foil
dispatch for superheroes.
And it's awesome. This is like a thing like, I would never have thought of that.
Oh,
what a awesome idea. And this is just a really great read. I mean, this is probably my favorite new comics issue that I've read in a while.
Wow.
I mean,
big words.
I love Kurt Busiek's stuff. Yeah. It's just terrific. And Brent Eric Anderson, that's the artist.
Uh-huh.
I love his stuff. It reminds me so much, I said before, but I'll say it again, it reminds me so much of Jerry Ordway or Neil Adams. Mm-hmm. And I mean that as an intense compliment, because I think of those guys as classic comics. And Brent Eric Anderson, who maybe he worked on the old Astro City. I haven't looked at that stuff in a long time, but so don't quote me. Okay. But I really like his art. It's perfect for this.
Yeah.
So
it's great. It's from Vertigo. I just want to put that.
Yeah, it's there. DC. Yeah. The Vertigo is the DC.
I really dug it. The story is. I like the words you used. You used the word fun, and that's exactly what it was. Just following one dispatch girl who loves her job.
Yeah.
And it was cool.
Yeah. And the thing is, Kurt Busiek is a guy, like, look, when I read Bronze Age comics and I find his fan letters.
Oh, cool.
So, like, this is a guy who really loves comics, and hopefully you do when you're writing comics.
Right, yeah.
But
this sucks. I don't want to write comics anymore.
Yeah, but, like, people, like, love Alan Moore or Grant Morrison, but those are kind of like, those guys don't write comics that are fun. They write comics that are great.
Yeah.
But you can have a meeting, you can come and have the best of both worlds there. You have great and groundbreaking stuff that reminds you of why you love comics. Mm-hmm. And that's what I want to say is accomplished with Astro City. I read this book and I'm like, this is why I love comic books.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's leave it there.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump into Marvel.
We just go back and forth.
Yeah.
We're just, whatever.
Daredevil.
Daredevil number...
28.
28.
Mark Waid.
Chris Samney is not doing the art on this issue. Just did the cover. Mm-hmm. Guest art by... You go ahead and continue. I'm going to look it up.
Yeah. Again, another book where it could just stand on its own. There is an overarching theme with...
Well, this is the start of an arc.
But I feel even so... this story could stand alone in itself.
This is a great... I mean, this would be a great issue to come in on.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Guest art by Javier Rodriguez. Very nice. Right. Very nice. And it's very similar to Samney's style. Is the perfect guy to fill in, you know. But yeah, great story. You know, it starts out with Matt Murdock. He's visiting Foggy. Foggy's got cancer. And... the chemo chemicals, like, they make Matt nauseous because he smells it so strong.
How awful do you have to feel about that, though? Like, the thing that gives you your abilities, like, hinders you from...
The sense of smell thing has got to be the biggest pain all the time. Yeah. Like, you know, because, like, think about it. Like, think about when Daredevil's, like, goes down the sewer fighting some scumbag. Yeah. And it's like, he's got to be like, how do you not just, like, vomit, like, all the time?
Right. So they're in New York. New York just smells like pee. He has pee in his nose all the time.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm just saying.
But, okay, so the other aspect of the story is a guy from Matt's childhood comes...
A bully,
okay, comes to him to help him represent him for, like, a false arrest case.
Right.
And, you know, there's some connections to Matt's accident that, you know... that this guy has. But this guy was like a member of the Sons of the Serpent for a time, and then bailed when he realized they were all racist and terroristy.
Right. He just wanted to bowl with some guys.
Yeah. But anyway, he asked Matt to represent him in this false arrest course. He was arrested because he was a former Sons of the Serpent guy, and it feels like it wasn't unjust. So Matt, not that he has any love for this person, but because it's right, he's going to represent him in court. And the plot thickens from there. I will not spoil it. I mean, man, Mark Waid is knocking it out of the park all the time. He's one of my favorite writers in comics.
Oh, yeah. He's great.
It's like, You know, they say Michael Jackson, he made Thriller. No. Okay, he did Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
He did Kingdom Come, which is my Red Desert Island book.
Wow.
So, but I love this book. It's my favorite Marvel comic. My only Marvel ongoing book that I'm getting right now. I've said it before, but I'll say it again.
Yeah.
So, back to Dark Horse, unless you're done with Daredevil.
Yeah, I'm good with Daredevil.
Okay. Breath of Bones, A Tale of the Golem, number 2. Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Niles. Who's the artist? Dave something. What is it?
Oh, Dave Watcher? Wachter?
Wachter. Yeah. So, I remember it was a tough name. But anyway, it's part 2 of this story. Jewish folks are protecting this American or British pilot that's crashed Krakow or Poland. I don't know if it's Krakow. But the Nazis are coming, and they're trying to hide this guy.
Yeah.
And, they're building the golem.
Yeah.
To thwart ye old Nazis.
Yeah.
And the magic.
I loved Daredevil. I loved Astro City. And Superman was But this book I've been looking forward to you picking up since you picked up the first one.
Yeah.
I've been so excited to read this. It's just good.
It is.
I went online this last week and I kind of read up on Steve Niles.
Yeah.
And
30 Days of Night is good.
Uh-huh.
And then I really liked his Criminal Macabre book.
Right.
That was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So this, I was interested in this.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I'm picking up this series. It's good.
Yeah.
It's going to wrap up with the 3rd issue, so...
Yeah, I'm a little bummed, but I think it'll end great. The thing with Niles is he's a horror writer.
Yeah.
That was very hard for me to say.
I can tell.
And he's interesting because he's taking a different look at what horror is.
This isn't really a horror story.
No.
I mean, there's a monster, but it's like a good spirit that's going to, do good things.
It's built off faith.
Yeah.
Rather than
Yay!
demons and bad.
Yeah, like when we read that last issue of Baltimore, that one shot that we picked up, I was kind of like, ew. Kind of it was kind of unsettling.
Right.
And sure that you want that in a horror book to a degree, but I don't know, I just wasn't too happy. And I like the Mignola books.
Uh-huh.
They're good. But that wasn't what I was looking for. I think this really fit the bill, though. This is something special.
It is perfect. It is something special.
Yeah.
Very good. He did an interview with Comic Book...
Niles did?
Stephen Niles did an interview with Comic Book Resources recently. And one thing that he said really struck me. This story, it's about heart. About family and the things we will do for those we love. It's not something you really hear in the horror genre.
Or a lot in mainstream comics.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't really tend to think of Dark Horse as mainstream comics, even though they're like 3rd largest of the big 4 comic publishers.
Right, yeah.
What they do is mostly offbeat stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming back with some superhero things, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But I think I appreciate their more kind of different stuff that they do.
Yeah.
So,
I think the real horror in this book is not the golem, is not anything like that. I think it's the horror of war.
Yeah.
The horror of the Nazi campaign in Poland.
Yeah.
And the horror of what humanity can turn into.
Yeah.
And when people can use this medium of comic books to make us look outside of ourselves and look at humanity as a whole, and the good that it can be and the horrible that it can be, I think that's why one of the reasons why we love comics.
Man, that's beautiful, man.
I try.
Yeah.
I'm serious. It strips away all the nonsense of what comic book stereotype is,
mm-hmm.
and you get down to what being human is, and that's important. And I think these books...
Well, this gets back to what comic books are supposed to be.
Right.
And I'll draw the comparison with Astro City here. Okay, this is understanding of like comic books they're meant to be entertainment, but not just superhero books, but comics in general are supposed to be able to give us. I mean, you should entertain us no matter what, but give us a look at the best that we can be, and what we should turn away from.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
cool,
groovy.
Yeah,
I'm all good.
That's what I've got. I think we could end it there and just be happy with this.
I think let's do that.
All right.
Thank you for listening. This has been Comic Reflections.